Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is take two for today's live stream. We had some technical issues once again. Sorry about that. Happy Friday to you. Hopefully, this is now working correctly. If not, I'll get a frantic message here in a little bit, but I think we're going to be okay now. And like I was saying before, I was cut off because it wasn't working. Today is a Friday, but we don't have a guest scheduled. Instead, I've got some good content for you, but we're going to start off backwards today. So today, I am actually going to start off with the shameless pitch. And that is because if you're an entrepreneur, and if you're not an entrepreneur, why the heck are you watching me? I mean, come on, go check out Netflix. There's something, probably a lot more interesting than this guy with funky wallpaper. But if you are an entrepreneur, you should be, I really honestly believe you should know something about blockchain, you should know something about cryptocurrency. And if you're in the industry, you really need to be also thinking about what is the good that we're doing, what is the problem I'm solving. And that's what my book, Behold the Cryptopreneurs, is all about. Definitely go to Amazon, grab a copy, paper version, or save a tree and get it on Kindle version. And I would really appreciate some feedback. Leave me a comment or review on Amazon. That would be like awesome. You'd just make my day. Anyway, with that being said, today what we're going to do is we're going to contrast a couple of articles that I just read in the last year, just today, but I thought they were very poignant and very interesting. So one is an article, it was about a call that the CEO of Shopify did just this week. And the other is an article of an expert journalist, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, Laurie Garrett. So Tobi Lutke, I hope I pronounced that right, Tobi, is the CEO of Shopify. Laurie Garrett is the author of a book that was published in 1994 called The Coming Plague. And she's a Pulitzer Prize winner. She's been talking about this sort of what we're living through, but she's been predicting it now for quite a while and done a lot of research. So I'm going to start with Tobi, though, and I'm going to start talking about Shopify. And the reason this stood out to me is because it really resonated with a lot of what we've been talking about on these live streams. One of the things he says is that everyone now has a 2020 quality software in basically a 2030 world. So what he's saying is that want to or not, we have been pushed forward a decade as far as our needs, our expectations, as far as where most industries are now. The trends that we thought were going to take 10 years have taken, 10 hours or 10 days. Really, that is the push we've had. And so he goes on to say that, so everyone's software just got 10 years worse, and given the requirements and the needs that customers have. Now, I want you to put that in the context. This is the CEO of Shopify. This is one of the most successful, e-commerce platforms in the world. Very, very solid technology. We use it with Shopify for quite a few of our clients, and so this isn't just a fly-by-night opinion. And Lucky goes on and he said to his whole team early in the coronavirus, just when this was starting, to delete all their existing plans and rewrite them based on this new reality. And that is exactly what I've been talking about for the last 8 weeks with you guys, or 7 weeks. I don't know how many they are now. I'll go back and count them a little bit. That you really have to throw all the old plans and all the old messaging and all the old marketing out the window and redo it, rethink it, replan it, re-strategize it for this new, the new reality that we're living in. And so I thought it was really interesting that that's exactly what he had Shopify start doing very early when they saw what was going on. When they just began, and it's not because it's a told you so moment. It's that this is it's just necessity. It's survival. And in the first quarter, Shopify's revenue has jumped 47% to $470 million US. They blew out all the expectations. And the total goods sold on the Shopify went up 46% to over 17.4 billion. from the same quarter a year ago. Okay, now think about that. That's a 47% increase in revenue, a 46% increase in the goods that are going through the platform. Obviously, if with retail stores shutting down, physical brick and mortar stores basically out of business, or not doing business, Shopify stood to profit from that. But the reaction wasn't, oh wow, this is let's just sit on our laurels and ride this unexpected wave. No, it was, oh, stop, throw all the plans out, start refocusing, let's reorganize everything we have in the pipeline to accelerate all of the innovations that we can put to bring to the market as quickly as we possibly can without sacrificing quality. And that's what they're doing, and it's successful. It's working. So he goes on, he says, yes, I think it's exactly what we're seeing. I really believe that when it comes to the retail industry, like maybe it's not 10 years, but we've jumped a lot of years in the future. And I think one really important part about this, and I'm quoting him here, is I think it's really worth for everyone to try to use software that was released in 2010 without updating it in patches. And you'll kind of get a feel for what the experience used to be. And you'll say, hey, I remember using this, and I remember really, really liking this back then. But now it seems they're old and somehow not appropriate anymore to what I would expect of this particular category of software. And so this is really, it's hard to explain, but where people can just sort of intuitively tell that the product is kind of made for the current times or not. And if it fits the current times and it uses sort of capabilities that people make assumptions about. So what he's saying there, and he's making a reference to the software industry specifically, he's saying, if you don't believe this, go back and test a program you used 10 years ago and see how clunky it is right now, how it doesn't fit. But he's saying that's what you have to do now. And I think that's a really powerful message for any entrepreneur, that everything you were doing 2 months ago is now for the users, for the clients, for your customers, for the people in your market. It feels like it's 10 years old. Okay, so how do you make what you're doing feel like it's adequate and appropriate for what's going on now? And then finally, he says, now imagine the vacuums that exist with all the businesses that they're only available to retail. Like, this is now a huge driver opportunity for challenger brands. And it's an imperative that people who aren't prepared to jump into the opportunity. So I think there's also lots of effects that are going on right now where that's important to understand. It's in no way easy to kind of understand what exactly are the cause and effect here. Like, this is a very complex, chaotic system right now, in which a lot of people from rural farmers all the way to Fortune 50 companies find utility in this thing we built. So what he's saying is that this is having a broad reach to everybody. And he's saying, yeah, of course, Shopify is trying to be agile and adapt to this new reality. But beyond the message of Shopify is an underlying message about entrepreneurship. It's an underlying message about, really taking a step and saying, what do I do in my business? Okay, so that was a really cool article. I will leave you links in the comments after we get this over. So if you want to read the article I read, you can jump over to them. Now I want to talk to you about Laurie Garrett. And Laurie Garrett is not a CEO. She's a journalist, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. But she's been talking about, she was ahead of the AIDS epidemic. She was ahead of the ball of the SARS and Ebola. And she's been in Africa. She's been, this is sort of, she wrote that book in 1994, the Coming Plague. So she's very well versed in what we're living through. And I just have a few quotes from an interview they did of her. And I thought it was really interesting to comment on them and share them with you, and then put a little bow on this live stream and we'll let it go. So she says, I've been telling everybody that my event horizon is about 36 months, and that's my best case scenario. Okay, they were asking, when is this This isn't Memorial Day behind us in the rearview mirror, okay? Her best case scenario is that in 36 months, we've recovered some sense of normalcy, okay? Uh, but then she goes on and she says, I'm quite certain that this is going to go in waves, she added. It won't be a tsunami that comes across America all at once and then retreats all at once. It will be microwaves that shoot up in Des Moines and then in New Orleans and then in Houston and so on. And it's going to affect how people think about all kinds of things. They'll reevaluate the importance of travel. They'll reassess their use of mass transit. They'll revisit the need for face-to-face business meetings. They'll reappraise having their kids go to college out of state. Okay, so here she's giving us some context. She said this is going to affect, you know, on so much of a profound level about how individual human beings react to what we've been living through, that there is no going back. Okay, now, you know, the best case scenarios are we're going to have a, you know, we'll get a virus, we'll get a vaccine eventually, and then it'll be tested, and then it'll get, you know, the logistics will get worked out, and maybe, you know, maybe in 12, 18, 36 months, something really good has happened there. Maybe. There's no guarantees, okay? We don't even know that there will ever be a vaccine, okay? But let's cross our fingers and hope there will be. But the reality is regardless of that, the changes, the profound changes in the market are not going away. They have that commitment has already been made in the psyches of your clients, of your customers. They're thinking differently. I've been talking to you about this. That's why the messages have to be different, because the ears and the eyes that are receiving those messages are different. Okay? And then she goes on and she says, if America enters the next wave of coronavirus infections, with the wealthy having gotten somehow wealthier off this pandemic by hedging, by shorting, by doing all the nasty things that they do, and we come out of our rabbit holes and realize, oh my God, it's not just everyone I love is unemployed or underemployed and can't make their maintenance or their mortgage payments or their rent payments, but now all of a sudden those jerks that were flying around in private helicopters are now flying on private personal jets, and they own an island that they can go to, and they don't care whether or not our streets are safe. Then I think we could have massive political disruption. Just as we come out of our holes and see that what 25% unemployment looks like, she said, we may also see what collective rage looks like. Wow, now that's a pretty powerful statement to be making, and I think it means something. We should really be reflecting. And as entrepreneurs, we need to be thinking like both of these experts. Okay, we need to be thinking like the CEO of Shopify and figuring out, you know, what it means to our business, but we also need to be thinking about Laurie Garrett and what it means to our market, to our customers, to the people we serve as business owners. Because, you know, in the end, we're all, you know, our businesses don't work if there isn't a you know, a viable market to buy our products and our services. So we need to be figuring out how this matters on a specific level to our businesses and on a wider level to the markets and to our markets. And I really believe we can't opt out of this. We can't just cross our fingers and we can't just hope that everything's going to come out hunky-dory. Okay? Instead, we need to step up and we need to figure out how to be part of the solution. And I really believe, and I've said this so many times, entrepreneurship is a fundamental part of the solution. But we as entrepreneurs have to do it. It's not going to happen by itself. And so, you know, I think that is why there's so much opportunity to be had if you take these steps as entrepreneurs and you really focus your thought process on how to position your business and how to position what you're doing and how to use the resources you have, be they many or few, to actually making an impact, a positive impact in the world we live in. And with that being said, I wish you all a very healthy, safe weekend. Hope you've enjoyed this. This did turn out to be a bit shorter. I think we're only 14 minutes today, so that's good. Anyway, thanks for listening, and please leave me some comments. Leave me some feedback. Hit the like button. Like I said, check out my book on Amazon. You'll like it. It's a fun read, if I do say so by myself. So take care. Talk to you next week and have a great weekend.